Hey, so this is Caden again. I wanted to talk a little bit more about my experience at the Democratic National Convention. Um, I see some underlying problems that I think that we should start working on now. One of them being, I think that our politicians or some of the people that are considered establishment, I don't think they started out that way. And I think the truth needs to be told about that. I think that the environment, the political environment that some of our politicians are going through, is kind of indoctrinating them into this system to where they're forced to choose between two subjects that they usually would never choose between. A good example would be healthcare or education, And when we went to the convention, this really stood out to me. I think that the transitional period happens between 2 and 6 years in office from people I've talked to, or people, who are climbing the political ladder, or so to say. And I think that it's incremental changes, and it starts out being little like, oh, don't talk to them, don't get pictures with them, don't look too rowdy, you got to keep your image up, and it moves into, I support them and I like what they're doing, but it would look politically bad for me to support them even if my community supports them as well. And, those are incremental changes. And then I'm sure, and politicians can correct me if I'm wrong, but I bet that there's a day that you go into office or you go into your work one day and you're forced to make a decision that you don't think you ever really would have had to make. I think that a lot of us are new and fresh to the system, and we see what's going on, and we don't want to go through those changes. If our community believes in something, then we want to be behind that because that's what we're elected to do. But we're being conditioned to go, well, this is politics, and it really brings into question, what is politics? Like, politics, this is supposed to be our catalyst that brings us to a democracy, and if it is messed up, then democracy is messed up. And I fully believe that we're going to have a change of minds as far as politicians go. No more thinking with pocketbooks, and I know that you might not get the position that you want as fast as you want, but stand your ground. I think that there's a lot of people who come in here and think it's crazy-headed thinking to choose between healthcare and education. Me and a lot of the people that I'm with, cater to the belief that, well, you've got two important things that need to be taken care of. Why are we choosing between them when we can choose to take a fraction of what we spend in the military-industrial complex and take care of both issues? I'm a wife, I'm a mother. A lot of the people that I've met are the same way. They're older, they're younger. Some of them are 18. They don't have kids yet. They don't have the fear of what kind of world are my kids going to be living in. And I think this is one of the places that we start. We need to stop forcing good people in politics to make decisions they wouldn't usually make. And that would probably involve backing them. Even when they had a fallout and lost a big contributor, that would mean backing them. And we're going to have to do that, We want them to be honest and we want them to work for us. We have to make sure that they know that we will be there. If you're making the decisions that we need you to make to better our community and to better our children's futures, we need to be behind them and to say, it's okay that you lost that corporate money. It's okay, honey. We got you $27. We got you $27. We're ready to give it to you because you know why? You stood up for us. You stood up for our kids. You stood up for our community. And we need to acknowledge that this is what happens to some people in politics, and we need to start trying to get rid of it now. Stop that thinking. Nobody should have to decide between, children or veterans. We should go in there going, in what way is our pie chart really far off? And we could really do without some of that spending, because that is where you will find a lot of answers to the communities, and our children cannot compete on a global market if they are not educated. And they definitely cannot compete on a global market if they are not educated and they are having to take care of us in their homes when we become elderly because everything has been stripped from us. And that, and some of the politicians that we know that are lower, you're in the same boat as us. You just don't realize it yet. Some of those higher up people, they're going to drop you like it's hot as soon as it becomes a better position for them to be in. So that's our message. We need to find our politicians that are good-hearted souls that just got caught up in the ruckus, and we need to support them. And they need to make it a point to support us. Anyway, thanks, and I'll be back again at some point. I know that I have an update on Hands Off Our Park here in San Antonio I would love to share with y'all.